So there's this cool robot guy named Machine Head, and Titan tries to, or he convinces Mark to help him take down Machine Head so Titan can kind of get out of the business,
Mhm.
or so he claims. And yeah, basically they confront him and he just teleports in a bunch of villains. Um, yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts on we've talked a little bit about Battle Beast, I think, but what do you think about like these other guys that they're not even really, I know they have names, but they don't even speak.
It's yeah, no, it's funny because like Battle Beast is the one character that I like, even though I rewatched this episode twice, like he's the one character that stands out the most to me. But I did think the villains had like really interesting powers, and like all of them combined really did some damage.
Hmm.
Yeah. What did you think of them?
Um, so we have like the like electric guy who we
Mhm.
see in season one at the end when Red Rush like takes care of him in like a second.
Mhm.
So it's kind of interesting to compare that to how much damage he does against much weaker heroes.
Mhm.
And then there's like lava guy, and then like there's some dude in like a robot suit or something. And then there's like the weird like fruit roll-ups coming out of his just like
Yeah, yeah.
torso. Pretty I think pretty fun designs.
Mhm.
Um, kind of very familiar powers, but they're not necessarily directly copying any like pre-existing characters. Maybe like Electro from Spider-Man is kind of close. Uh,
There's only
but
only so many powers you can have.
yeah, we yeah. Maybe one day we'll like write our own superhero show and come up with some like really unique powers. Um, yeah, I mean they're all pretty cool, but I feel like Battle Beast is definitely the big kind of highlight of this action sequence. Um,
Yeah.
when you first watch the episode, and I know this is probably a minute ago, uh, so I mean I know it was a minute ago, but do you remember like yours? Because I didn't know who Battle Beast was until I read into him a bit. So I was just like, oh, like this guy's actually really power. Like this guy is like a cut above. Like, what do you remember? What your initial thoughts were on seeing this dude?
Yeah, I think it was just really like I was really worried for Mark and the rest of the Guardians because they like literally get destroyed by this guy and he seems untouchable.
Mhm.
Um, like I feel like they didn't even need the other villains. Like it could have just been Battle Beast
Oh
and
yeah, I think
like
so.
he could have taken everyone out. And I just yeah, I've never really like read up on where he comes from. So I would love to hear like what you know about him.
Well, I'm without going into any like spoilers, I just mainly know that he just likes fighting people and fighting people that really push him. That's like his whole thing. And so I know he'll definitely play a big part in the Viltrumite War,
Hmm.
which I think is awesome. But I'm curious to see kind of before we get to him like fighting Viltrumites, like curious how they'll expand on his relationship with Mark or Omni-Man or Alan, all these other kind of big players and that will big play a part in the war. Um, because obviously in this episode, it's just a pretty quick. He's not some complex character or anything. Like he's just kind of built different, and that's the big takeaway.
Yeah, it's interesting because at one point he says he was promised this world offered worthy opponents.
Mm,
So I like, what world does he come from?
I know. How
You
do
know?
you think he would have fared? I mean, he might have just won because I'm pretty sure he's one of the strongest characters in the universe.
Huh.
But how do you think this fight would have gone down if it was like the OG Guardians that helped instead of the kind of the new class?
Do the OG Guardians have Omni-Man or no?
Ooh, I'm gonna say no because he
Okay.
could have helped, but he
Yeah.
was up there watching.
I
Yeah.
know, which is weird. We'll talk about that after I
Yeah.
answer this question.
Yes.
Um, I don't know. I think the thing with that separates the old Guardians and the new Guardians is that the old Guardians have had practice at doing this. Like they
Right.
have their team dynamics down. They
Mhm.
probably knew like we're just kind of prepared for what this fight would have been. I just think the new Guardians are very unprepared and they haven't like been in fights like these before, that they just like really, really got destroyed. I think the old Guardians definitely would have taken some hits, but I don't think they would have failed as miserably as the new Guardians did.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think they could have easily taken the other goons.
Yeah.
Um, but Battleby should be interesting. Like even like if they could all like try and attack him at once, like what that fight would look like.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know. He doesn't seem to be as like quick as Nolan,
Yeah. He just he can only move so fast. Like he just has
right?
2 feet. Like he can't fly or anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and like Darkwing could fly a little bit. I think. I don't know.
He
Yes.
he rides on like his hoverboard.
Yeah, whatever he does. Like
Darkwing would try and jump attack him from the sky, and it wouldn't work.
Omni-Man can fly. Red Rush is just fast and can like sneak up on him. I just like the old Guardians versus the new Guardians also like the old Guardians just have like really great powers that all complement each other.
Yeah.
I always feel like the new Guardians are like trying to find like how like Monster Girl can help duplicate, and we see a little bit of that because they do celebrate a win in the beginning of the episode, but it's not like they kind of just won. They didn't wear I don't know. They're just very not they don't have a good team dynamic.
Yeah, they're definitely a lot more unorganized, which I suppose is kind of the purpose of that first scene when Black Samson is lecturing them, and then we kind of see, well, we do see them kind of after Battle Beast kills Mark and like severely injures Black Samson and Monster Girl.
Yeah.
We see them like really like pull their shit together, um,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
kind of deal with the rest of them. Yeah.
Robot gets triggered when he sees
Yes.
Monster Girl get destroyed. So
Yeah.
it's
He
like
is a weird dude.
there we've talked about it before, but there's like this theme of emotion where we
Uh,
see like Robot really care about Monster Girl, which like wants him to fight harder. We see Mark get really angry when fighting Battle Beast, and he makes some progress on all of them, but then Battle Beast is like, no. So we really see how like the emotions drive the powers.
yeah. I actually that's a good I I read something on how Viltrumites apparently don't have adrenaline, but because Mark is half human, he does. And so like in this episode, we kind of see him like snap for a second and go crazy. And he obviously he's just not as powerful as Battle Beast, so
Mhm.
it can only take him so far. But I thought that was interesting.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like we've also seen him like in the season two mid-season finale when he like sees all of dead the Thraxons. Um, and he's like being like outclassed by this Viltrumite warrior. Like feel like it kind of kicks in. But I don't know. So I'm curious to see. I feel like he just gets so like worked up in every fight.
Mhm.
Um, and I think we see it a little bit here. But I thought that was just an interesting thing that I read.